Are your numbers armor protected? If not, you seriously should be considering activating armor on your account to protect the caller ID that you and your team are using when you're making outbound calls. It's really not that much, and the benefits definitely far outweigh the expense. First off, we're going to be monitoring those numbers. We're going to be looking at all of the major carriers and a lot of the different apps out there that flag numbers as potential spam. So we're going to be able to know when a number has been flagged by any of the major carriers. And if a number is flagged as spam, we will proactively work with the carriers to remove any false flags on your behalf. And the first thing we're going to do when you activate Armor is we're going to go ahead and register every one of your phone numbers with the major carriers so they know to expect incoming calls into their system from your numbers. And finally, Armor unlocks some analytics so that you can dive deep into the effectiveness of you and your team when making calls using Armor protected phone numbers. And that's what we're going to be talking about on this specific training. We're going to talk about the call volume analytics available to you through the Armor dashboard. So let's go up to the top of the page here in the upper left-hand corner. We're going to click on Dashboard. From the dashboard, we're going to click on Armor. This will take us to the Armor specific dashboard. Now keep in mind, I'm in a demo account, so there's not a tremendous amount of call volume here, and I call demo contacts, so I'm not going to have a lot of activity across all of the major carriers. You, on the other hand, are going to see answer rates across all of the 3 major carriers and any additional other carriers. And there are some filtering options that you can do right up here at the top to filter all of these graphs. However, as I mentioned, this specific training is going to focus on the call volume graph. I want to help you understand some of the options available to you to help you dive into the details of this specific graph. So first and foremost, the date range that we're looking at here is determined by the date range that we select or that is selected in the upper right-hand portion in this filtering menu, right? So right now we're looking at year to date. If I wanted to change the date range for the call volume graph, I need to edit the date range up here. So as you can see, again, we're year to date. If I wanted to switch this to another date range, I can switch it to yesterday, week to date, month to date, quarter to date, previous week, previous month, previous quarter, previous year, last 7 days, last 30, last 3 months, and last 6 months. So those are all of the predefined options that I have for the date range. But if I don't like those, I can of course choose any date range I want using the little calendar option here. But I'm going to use predefined date ranges because it's going to be easier for me, and I'm going to set it back to year to date. All right, so now that we have defined the date range, let's go back down to the call volume. So by default, if I don't make any other edits to the filter menu in the upper right-hand portion of the page, it's going to be all users, all numbers, all activity during that date range. And that may be how I want to see things to start, and I may want to look at all my other graphs in that same way. However, I may want to start to split this up or break this up. And so what you'll notice is in the upper right-hand portion of this specific graph, there's a menu. If I click on that menu, I can break this down by agent. So if I want to see the call volume during this date range broken down by agents, I can do that. And over here to the right of the graph, I'll see the legend of all of the different agents or callers or team members, however you want to refer to it as. I'm going to see them all broken down, and I'm going to see what color their line represents in this graph. Now, another thing that we may want to consider is how this is grouped in this graph, right? So right now, this is grouped by weekly activity. If I wanted to see this broken down by monthly activity, I go up to the filtering menu up at the top, choose monthly, and now my graph is going to update. And you'll see it's still broken down by agent because I've updated that call volume graph by agent, but now it's grouped by monthly activity. Let's switch that to daily. Then I scroll back down here. You'll see I have a lot of activity here in the last few days, right? Because I was gearing up to record this. I don't have a lot of data before that because, again, this is a demo account. So you'll have to forgive me for having such an ugly looking graph in some scenarios, right? So if I change this instead of year to date, let's switch this to month to date. And that might smooth things out a little bit, but again, I don't have a ton of data within this specific user group. So, it's not as pretty. So we're going to go ahead and switch this back to group by weekly, and let's set that back to year to date. Now we'll go back down here. So again, we've got the option to change how we're visualizing this call volume. Let's change that from agent to carrier. So across all of our carriers, we can see the call volume to each of the individual carriers. Now again, I am dialing demo contacts from a demo account. So all, if not, well, not all, most of my calls are to other, right? However, my cell phone happens to be with T-Mobile, so I do have my cell phone in there and I make calls to my cell phone from time to time. So there are 2 carriers in my demo list here, but you will see call volume broken down by all of the different carriers. Now let's look at some of the other options. We've got phone number. So every phone number that you purchase through PhoneBurner and is armor protected can be broken down in this call volume graph so that you can see how many times any one particular number has been used, broken down by week, day, month, over any period of time that you want to look at. So you can see which numbers are getting used the most. And you can start to identify where you might need to add additional phone numbers, right? So let's say you're making a lot of calls into New York and you didn't realize that, and you're only using one New York phone number for all of those calls. You might want to go and add 1 or 2 more phone numbers in that area so that you can smooth that call volume out. You see, carriers like to see consistent call volume. You might want to consider how you're working through your data, right? So there's lots of things that you can start to learn from this data by breaking it down and looking at the call volume by phone number. Now let's take a look at line type. That's the next option in our drop-down menu. You'll see I've got mobile, non-fixed, VoIP, and other. Most of mine are non-fixed VoIP. That's because they're all demo contacts. And then of course I do have a few calls that are mobile because of course I'm calling my T-Mobile cell phone number. Let's take a look at one of the other options here. We've got lead source. This, in my opinion, is a really important thing to be considering. What lead sources are you working? Are you working all of your lead sources consistently? Now let's switch to the next one, which is our Connect Score. Connect Score is an amazing feature of PhoneBurner. You see, we have a tremendous amount of call volume across all of our users, and we have great relationships with our carriers. So this allows us to do some really cool proprietary work to identify which phone number is most likely to be answered. Now, right now, every call you make using an armor protected phone number gets a Connect Score. And we do that so that we can show you how many calls you're making to phone numbers that are low quality or high quality. And you can start to understand ways that will help you increase live answer rate. So if you're seeing a large call volume to low quality phone numbers, you may want to consider your lead sources. You may want to consider activating the Connect Score feature in your PhoneBurner account so that you can automatically skip phone calls to low quality phone numbers, or you can sort your contacts or organize your contacts or create saved searches based off of a contact's Connect Score so that you can increase your opportunity to connect with more people in less time. The Connect Score option here with this call volume graph is going to help you start to identify exactly how many calls you're making to low quality phone numbers. Couple other options that we may want to consider is the number pool name. So this can come in really handy if you're creating different pools of phone numbers for different calling campaigns. This will allow you to see the call volume broken down based off of the phone numbers that are in individual number pools. And the last one that I want to talk to you about is none. That takes us back to where we started, where it gives us all of our call volume across all of our sources, across all of our agents, across everything, right? All of this stuff just kind of in one call volume graph. So you can just see general call volume across your entire team. So anyway, that is a deep dive into the call volume graph that you have available in your Armor dashboard. Thanks for taking a moment to watch this video, and happy dialing.